The second book of Samuel, session number 13. Today we have a very interesting chapter, 2 Samuel chapter 10. And I pray, Father, that everything we learn today, everything that is written on stone that cannot be changed, all these prophecies that are written in the history of King David, that it will come to pass as you have been prophesying your son Yeshua in the life of King David. How King David overcame even this difficult thing, this horrible thing that happened in chapter 10. So your son went through difficult, horrible things, but he's the king that will overcome and will destroy the enemy. And at the end of chapter 10, the enemy has no choice but to serve King David. Amen. So verse 1, it came to pass after all of this. So remember in yesterday's session, we learned about Mephibosheth. And Mephibosheth, remember, came out of the house of Machir, the son of Amiel from Lodebar. And it's quite interesting in 2 Samuel chapter 17, we actually see that this Machir shows kindness to David. When David needed help, Machir was there to help him. But so was one of the sons of King Nachash of Ammon. So King Nachash of Ammon had, I don't know how many sons he had, but one of them we learn about in this chapter 10. Very bad guy. His name means grace, but he's actually an antichrist figure. But the other son of Nachash, together with Machir, in 2 Samuel 17, showed kindness again to David. So these dichotomies and these, the politics between these peoples and these nations are so interesting. But anyway, back to chapter 10. It came to pass after all this that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun, his son, reigned in his stead. Then said King David, I will show kindness unto Hanun, the son of Nachash, as his father showed kindness unto me. And David sent to comfort Hanun by the hand of his servants for his father. All right, we'll stop there, because now we have to go back. We have to understand who is this Nachash, this king of Ammon. So remember Ammon, the root word for Ammon is which means people. So we'll get to the significance of this a little bit later. But who is this King Nachash? So King Nachash is the king of the Ammonites, and the Ammonites are a far descendant from, what was his name? Lot, that, his two daughters slept with him after Sodom and Gomorrah. But they eventually, although they are brothers, they became the enemies, one of the biggest enemies to Israel. Now, Nachash in Hebrew means the serpent or hissing or snake. So Nachash was a serpent, and yet during David's lifetime somewhere there was a time when he showed kindness unto David. The serpent system cannot forever just persecute and want to kill us. There comes a time when they have to also stop their warring and start understanding that they have to bow before the Israelites and before the king, the God of the Israelites. So in 1 Samuel chapter 11 verse 1 and 2, we have discussed this in the first book of Samuel. This is where King Nachash said to Israel that he will make peace with them only if they take out their right eyes. Do you remember this? And that's when they came back and they were crying, oh, the King Nachash is going to kill us, and we want to make covenant with him so we can survive and become his servants. But he says only if we take out our right eyes. And we had the understanding that your right eye is important. It's very important. You can't read the Torah. You can't work 6 days in the field. You can't be a proper man when your manhood, your ability to work and to read and to love is taken away by your right eye being plucked out. Yeshua is the right hand of God. Your right hand side is your godly side. So Nachash, the serpent, wants to take away your godly side. And then he wanted to make Israel his servants. So remember, they went crying to King Saul. King Saul was still working on his father's farm, and that's when he stood up and he actually became the king. So Samuel also reminded Israel that because of their fear for King Nahash, they wanted a human king. They rejected Yahuwah as king, and God said to Samuel, don't worry, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting me in their asking for a king. But it was because of Nahash. This king of the Ammonites was vexing Israel. And then they said, no, we don't trust God anymore, we want a king. So Nahash has a very bad reputation. He's got a bad history between him and Israel. Yet, somewhere in the life of David, after all of this happened, although Nahash was a hard enemy and a cruel, gruesome enemy of Israel, Nahash showed kindness to David. So David, like we saw yesterday, he's a man after God's heart. He remembered his covenant with Jonathan, and he gave the blessing over to Jonathan's descendant, Mephibosheth. David doesn't forget. He doesn't forget the kindness of King Nahash. So when he heard that King Nahash died, he sent some of his... Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you. Hanun is now the son of King Nahash. So Nahash means serpent, and yet this serpent decided to call his son's name Hanun. And Hanun has got the root word meaning of rachamim, which is mercy, grace, kindness. So hopefully this Hanun, the son of Nahash, will remember David and how his father and David were friends and how his father showed kindness to David. I mean, his name is kindness and mercy after all. So, he's going to be so happy to hear from David again. Hi, David. Oh, thank you for coming to show kindness to me. Thank you for remembering your relationship with my father. Thank you for reaching out. Because this is King David. This is King Yeshua reaching out to the children of the serpent, to those in the world that has been hissed and bitten by the serpent language, by the fruit from the serpent tree. But God wants to show Hanan, grace and mercy and kindness to the children and call them out from their serpenthood and bring them into covenant with David, his son David. The king, the shepherd boy king, the warrior, the beloved. So Hanun is going to be very happy when David sent to comfort Hanun by the hand of his servants, and David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon with all the good intentions in the world. And the princes of the children of Ammon said unto Hanun their lord, do you think that David honors your father, and that he has sent comforters to you? So these, we also have them today. These naysayers, these little voices in our heads, and these advisors, not only to, human beings, and sometimes these advisors are demons, but also to the governments of the world. These serpent Nahash advisors that will always bring doubt and fear. This serpent system that doesn't want God's mercy to flow upon this earth. They are even right now busy dividing the world. Some of the countries will stand with Israel. And then, like the EFF said, they will never stand with Israel. They're going to chuck out the embassy out of South Africa. And they're going to bring back the South African embassy out of Israel. And nobody will be allowed to travel to Israel for any functions or sporting events, because South Africa stands with Palestine. So these Nahash system advisors, these princes, the princes of the darkness of the air, the principalities in the heavenly places, are advising the puppet leaders of the world to have division and to doubt the true meaning of God's intention, of King David's intention. And through dividing all the nations to choose sides, for instance, in this coming Third World War, they are the string masters, the puppet masters. They want this war to happen. So all they have to do is to let something happen, and hopefully you've watched my videos on BitChute to know how they are making these things to happen, and how the Jews of the synagogue of Satan is really behind all of this, the puppet masters of the world. But as they are pulling the strings and the nations choose sides, we become divided. And then the Third World War is easy, because the half the world will fight with that nation, other half of the world will fight with that nation, and we will mutually destroy each other. And then the Lucifer Phoenix can rise. But anyway, so here the princes are bringing doubt to Hanun. If they haven't advised him in this way, maybe he would have seen that David does want to honor his father, and that David has sent comforters to him, and he would have appreciated it. But now they are advising him that David has sent his servants to search the city and to spy it out so that they can overthrow it. So they are planting the serpent ideas in Hanun's head. Therefore took Hanun David's servants, and he did the following. He shaved off the one half of their beards, and he cut off their garments in the middle, so that their buttocks showed, and he sent them away. For heaven's sake. So think about this in the physical. Of course, Israel had long beards. Many Messianic believers today, they've also grown their beards, because there's just a beauty in a man with a beard. Both my sons and my husband has beards, and I love it. And now and again they shave it off, and I don't know. I don't like it. They look like little boys then. But a beard was a just like the right eye in one where was that now? In 1 Samuel 11. It's part of your manly attire. It's part of your authority. It's part of showing that you serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You don't cut the sides of your beard. So he cut off half of their beards, making such a fool of them. And he cut off half of their garments, but he cut off the bottom half. So remember, these guys didn't wear Levi jeans or pants. They wore these long skirts. So he cut off the skirts at the back side, just above their buttocks. So this is horrible. How do you walk? How do you get back to your land? And how are the people when you turn around to walk away or run away from them, and they all see your naked butt, and they're laughing and they're pointing fingers? Oh, you stupid Israelites, look at you today. Shameful, despised. We laugh at you. We smack you. We make fun of you. We make sport of you. Remember Yeshua. David went out to do good. And his brothers, although his brothers became his enemies, the Ammonites and the Moabites were still the brothers, because they were the descendants of Lot. And Lot was the child of the brother of Abraham himself. So Yeshua came to do good with all the intentions in the world, to show Chanun, Rachamim, grace and mercy to those who are the children of Nachash, the serpent. And he is stricken. His beard was plucked out. He was stripped from his garments. He was naked and ashamed. And the Bible calls being naked and ashamed. Remember Adam and Eve. When we disobey God, we stand before him naked and ashamed. Yeshua took that curse upon him. Although he never disobeyed his Father, he took our nakedness and shame from us. His beard was plucked out in our behalf. So this is an amazing prophetic utterance of how King David sent out to do good, and his servants were treated like this. And eventually his son was treated like this. Like the parable Yeshua told about the vineyard and the landlord that let it out to people. And then when it was time for the harvest and he sent his servants, they killed them. And then he sent his son and they killed him. So This is also more than just on that physical level that I want to show you. I also want to take you to a few other verses. Beards are normally cut off, and it's a sign of deep moaning and deep weeping and deep shame and desperate cries. So I want to read for you Isaiah 15. I'm just going to jump between verse 1 and 5. So it's all about my heart cries out. This is all about Moab and the judgment concerning Moab. My heart cries out. Heshbons shall cry. Their voices shall be heard even unto Jahaz. The soldiers will cry out. His life is grievous to him. They are weeping abundantly. They are howling in the streets and at the top of their houses. They are girding themselves with sackcloth. The land is laid waste. The land is brought to silence. They weep at the high places. They howl over Nebo. And they shave their heads. And they shave their beards. So beard shaving and head shaving and ashes and sackcloth, this has to do with after judgment came over you and God rejects you and He lets you go through judgment. How many times has this happened with Israel? Then they cut off their beards and they shave their heads and they fast and weep and cry and lament because of the judgments that has come over them. So to have your beard cut off, when people look at you, they can see that you have been judged by the God of Israel. And there's something wrong. You are not happy. You are not blessed. You are cursed. And the prophet Isaiah continues in Isaiah 20. This is the judgment over Egypt and Cush. So shall the king of Assyria, this is Isaiah 20 verse 4, lead away the Egyptian prisoners and the Ethiopian captives, young and old, naked and barefoot. He will strip them naked. He will take away their shoes, and their buttocks will be uncovered, and they will be led shamefully around, so that their shame is shown. They shall be afraid and ashamed. When your buttocks are showing, you are ashamed. You cannot walk normally. You cannot stand upright and be normal. You don't want to show yourself to anyone because, they can see your buttocks. And when your beard is shaved, you don't want to go out into the streets and everybody stares at you. Oh, shame. Why is your beard cut off? How has God cursed you? What judgment has come over you? And in the same way, through the prophet Ezekiel, God is promising judgment. This time not to Moab and Egypt and Assyria, but this time to Israel. God is prophesying through the prophet Ezekiel in Ezekiel 5 that He's going to destroy Jerusalem. And what does He tell Ezekiel to do? So that this message, this warning of Jerusalem's destruction, God's beloved, God's people's destruction, these servants that David sent out, what message do you carry around when your buttocks are bare and your beard is shaven? And you, son of man, take a sharp knife and take a barber's razor and cause it to pass upon your head and upon your beard. And then divide the hair from your head and your beard. And a third part will be smitten in the city. A third part will be killed in the field. And a third part will show how that you will be scattered in the wind and killed with a knife and the sword. And this is also when we get to verse 8 of chapter 10 of 2 Samuel, we'll see that the enemies were in the gates in the cities and they were in the field. So as this third part of Ezekiel's beard is divided in the midst of the city, in smitten with a knife and a sword, scattered in the wind. So it represents how the enemy in the time of David, in the time of Ezekiel, and in our times will be in the city and in the field. because the judgment of our God has come over this world because of our disobedience to his commandments. This is extremely important and it's relevant because Ezekiel 27 verse 15 says, Ezekiel 7 verse 15, the sword is outside in the field, and the pestilence and the famine is inside in the city. He that's in the field will die by the sword, and he that's in the city will die by famine and pestilence. All right, so this enemy is causing this symbol of judgment and destruction to come upon the beautiful servants of the lovely, beloved King David, who only wanted to show mercy and kindness, like Yeshua. Yeshua wants to show mercy. He was stripped. He was made naked and ashamed. But he will come back and he will destroy all these men of arrogance. So, when this was told to David, he sent to meet them because the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, so the men didn't want to go to King David, they were too ashamed. So King David went to them. What a beautiful heart he had. He said to them, okay guys, okay, you know what, relax. You can stay at Jericho until your beards have grown back, and then you can come back to me. So of course they were his servants, they were supposed to serve him and do stuff for him. But they don't want to. They don't want to go out in the streets. Of course, they can put on other clothes, but they can't get half their beards back. So they had to shave off the other half and let the beards grow again. And David said, it's fine. Take a break. Take a holiday. I give you leave. Let your beards grow back. All right? He's gracious because they are the bond servants to their masters. They've lost half their beards, their sign of authority and so much more. They are stripped half naked. And although they're in covenant with God, it looks like they are not because they are naked and ashamed. But when the servants of King David, when the bond servants of King Yeshua, when we obey the king, then he can show mercy to this world, to the children of the serpent. But he also shows grace to us to heal, because as we go out and we try, how many times have you gone out and you've tried to show kindness to people, to share the word with them? When they ask you, why don't you keep Christmas? Then you try to tell them, and what do? They laugh at you. They strip your buttocks bare, and they point their fingers at you and say, oh, you're such a crazy, stupid, what are you, a Bible basher? Are you one of those who don't keep Christmas? They cut off half your beard. They say you reject Jesus Christ. They bring judgment over you. They take the symbol of God's authority and they shave it off. But be careful. A third of that is going to be scattered into the wind. A third will fall in the field. A third will be pestilence and famine in the city. Let them do it. You don't retaliate. You do what? What does the bondservant do? You turn the other cheek. So they turned the one cheek, their beards were shaven off. Yeshua says, turn the other cheek and then come back to me. The servants didn't retaliate. They went back to King David. King David said, let your beards grow back. Make ready for the war. I'm going to destroy this enemy that has done these things. This world where I've sent you out like sheep amongst wolves. You turn the other cheek. You leave revenge and retribution to me. So we return to him. He shows grace to us and let us heal from our wounds so that we can prepare for battle and be ready for when the time comes, when he goes out again to the enemy. All right, so when the children of Ammon saw that they stank before David, so obviously they know now, ooh, damn, now King David is going to be very angry and he's going to hate us. We are going to be like a bad smell in his nose. Then the children of Ammon sent and they hired, because they thought they were not strong enough against King David, so they decided to make themselves stronger by hiring the Syrians of Beth Rehob and the Syrians of Zobah, 20,000 footmen. And of King Maacah, they rented or hired 1,000 men. and of Ishtop 12,000 men. All right, let's have a little bit of a look into this. Syrians, the Syrians, in the Hebrew, their name comes from that which is exalted. And of course, Ammon hired the Syrians. Ammon means the people. Syrians means exalted. Ishtop means man of good. Right? And now we've got Beth Rehob. And the Hebrew of Beth Rehob means the house of the street or the house of the station. Remember this now. Very important. Because the enemy in David's time, the people that are exalted and form a stronghold, although they seem to be good men, Ishtop, man of good, they are the people of this world, the people in the houses of the streets, in the houses of the stations, all the people of the world that falls under Hanun, the son of Nachash, the serpent, that is stinking in the nose of God, hiring and paying with money. This New World Order is all about money. The dollar bill with the eye on the pyramid. And they are hiring those who exalt themselves and who are stiff-necked before God, full of pride, like Lucifer. And they stand up and form this massive conglomerate of united nations coming together that's exalting themselves above God and above the Son of David to destroy the servants of David. Very, very prophetic. So the children of Ammon hired the children of Syria. And when David heard of it, he sent Joab. Joab is Ya'ab. Yahuwah is our Abba. So Yahuwah our Abba is sent, and the host of all the mighty men. And the children of Ammon came out. Ammon, the people of the world, in the houses, in the streets, that exalts themselves. They came out and put in the battle in array at the entering of the gate. And they put the Syrians, the exalted ones, in the field. So remember Ezekiel 7 verse 15. In the field and in the city, your enemies will lie in wait for you because of the judgment that I've sent over you. But when there's no judgment over you, when your beard has been shaven off without cause, when you are clothed in the righteousness of Yeshua, and you are not naked, and your enemy tries to make you naked, then Yahuwah, who's our Abba, and Abishai, Yahuwah, Abba is our gift, will lead out, together with King David, Yeshua, will lead out the end-day battle against these enemies. Because they are in the gates, in the cities, and in the field. They ambush in the city, they ambush in the field, and they'll catch you where you run. Yeshua says in John 16, verse 33, he says, these things have I spoken to you, that in me you might have peace. In this world you will have tribulation. You will not have peace. But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. So we know these things are lying and waiting for us. And they are setting up their smart cities. And they are stealing the farmers' lands. So in the city and in the fields, the enemy, the exalted New World Order, Lucifer beast system, that is bringing together all the people of the world, of all the houses and all the streets coming together, standing against God and his anointed. When Joab saw that the front of the battle was against him, from before and from behind, he chose of all the choice men of Israel and put them in array against the Syrians. So Joab, Yah is our Abba, versus the Syrians. Beautiful, ne? Versus those who are exalted. Yahuwah our Father will stand against, will be put in array, will go into war with the Syrians, the exalted ones. And the rest of the people he delivered into the hand of Abishai, Abba is our gift, Abishai his brother, that he might put them in array against the children of Ammon. So the children of Ammon, we also had Ishtob, man of good. So here we have Abishai against Ishtob. Abba is our gift against the man of good. What man of good? Eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The people of this world, in the streets and in the houses, in the stations and in the cities, and all those following the exalted ones, they think they are doing good. In the end, they will deliver you up to the government and they will think they're doing God a favor. So, Abba is our gift, which is Yeshua, will stand even against Lucifer. Satan will dress himself even like an angel of light to deceive, if possible, even the elect. Those who think they are doing good, those who represent the good of this world, those exalted ones with all their confederacies and what do you call them? Committees and things. They're telling the world they're doing good, but Abba will send his gift and they will destroy. He will destroy the exalted one and the ones that are pretending to be good. And Joab said, if the Syrians is too strong for me, then you will come and help me, Abishai. But if the children of Ammon is too strong for you, then I will come and help you. And look at this beautiful verse 12. Be of good courage, and let us play the men for our people, and for the cities of our God. And let Yahuwah do that which seems good to him. I want to finish this chapter, but I see we are already at half an hour. Let me finish this tomorrow. So Yahuwah, you do what seems good. After you've sent out your son to show grace unto the children of the serpent, and they have made fun of you, and they are making fun of us today, and they are stinking in our noses and in yours. You will give us time to heal and let our beards grow back and remind us that they ambush us in the cities and in the field. But the knowledge that you are our Father and our gift is with us. And we will not be scared. We will be of good courage because it's all about the city Jerusalem that must be exalted to the top of the hills. Like the prophet Isaiah says, the nations must go up to the mountain of God and to Jerusalem, because from that mountain the word of God is preached and the Torah is pronounced. Your glory and your honor and what your will is must be done. So you do what seems good to you. The world, the world do what they think is good. The men that think they are doing good in this world do what's right in their own eyes. They're exalted in their own eyes, and they are not accepting the chanun, the grace that you want to show to a world that's in the grip of Nachash, the serpent.